All right, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are on this fine Thursday. I hope you are doing well. I decided to go live because I got a new stream deck and I got a few things fixed on my setup. So I wanted to give those a quick test and make sure everything was working just right. So hopefully it does, and let's get it rolling. All right, so first up, we got Astral Echo by KJYX. This is going to be a long 1 minute 8 second level. It's got one of my favorite songs personally, Dream Flower, in it. Very excited to see how this one goes. It's actually a already sent level. Whoa, good intro. Looks like that's just straight up an error on my part, so no problem there. Looks like we're using a song offset, which is actually a good idea for the context of this level. It's a nighttime level, and the beginning part doesn't necessarily match that. That feels more like daytime, so I think it's a good idea to use a song offset. Nice. So this part right here, I do feel like it degrades just a bit in terms of quality. There's a few things that are kind of choppy. I'm not positive exactly how to say it, but it's not bad overall. It's not like all of a sudden it's not rate worthy. It's just more close to a star rate in contrast to maybe the feature that the first part showed up with. This part goes back to that feature quality. There's a nice background overall, and the art feels very complete in general. This is just a skill issue on my part. I think I just have to hold. Or not. Let me take a look. There we go. Yeah, so it was the practice mode situation. Nothing wrong with that. So yeah, this duel is actually pretty tricky. I think it does match the overall difficulty of the level, so I don't have a ton of complaints there. It's just something that is. There we go. Yeah, the colors here are really nice. I'm a very hard person to please in terms of colors, and I am very impressed by what's been done here so far. Nice. Yeah, so this feels like a flower, which is exactly what Dream Flower leads on to make you believe. So I like that they contributed that. Good effects as well. This part here, right here, feels like a high feature, maybe even a low epic. So it's getting into that featured range for me at the moment. Nice transition, feels very smooth, and brings two otherwise kind of separate parts together in the level, and a good callback to the second part. So far, I'm very impressed with how this level plays through. It's not very... It feels like everything that's happened in terms of like deaths and stuff is kind of my fault. So yeah, all these things here are just because I'm in practice mode, so I can't get like a full flow of the level. It's not the creator's fault in any sense. Okay. This part, I'm not sure exactly why I'm dying to it. I feel like I'm clicking early and all that stuff, but yeah, not positive. Hopefully it just hashes itself out really quick. Maybe I have to go late. No. Now, see, I want to get past this just because, you know. And welcome in to everybody joining in. Good to see you guys. As always. Feels like I got it. Must be such a late input. Any idea what's going on here? Why I'm just kind of losing it? I'm not sure. Maybe I'm supposed to be like a mini something. Let's take a quick look. Oh, I am! Okay. Another example of just something that I did wrong. Nothing wrong with the level. Just an error on my part. Yeah, I should be small. You're absolutely right. Everybody in chat saying that I should have been a mini. That is my fault. There we go. Like nothing ever happened. Nothing ever happened, guys. I didn't do that. This part's beautiful. Lots of good energy going on. Big fan. Yeah, so I think overall, all around with that level, very well done, right? There were a lot of things that went really, really, really well. There were some good effects. The designs were well finished overall. You had good gameplay. A lot of that was just kind of my fault. It was a little bit out of my difficulty league. So practice mode didn't quite justify exactly what's going on. It was requested for a demon, which is correct. Let me really quick just write a quick comment because I was a huge fan of the energy and the atmosphere. Yeah, it was great overall. I'm really glad that I actually got to play this one because it had something that I really haven't seen for a while. It had passion. It had sync. It had really everything that goes into making a good level good. Was it enough for an epic rating? It was on the fringe. And the reason why was there were a few designs that felt a bit out of place. Mostly, I would say those would be the rock designs. The green felt just a little bit harsh, but I think for myself, I am going to say a very high feature. Totally could go for an epic though. Would not be surprised if it did. So well done overall. Is the level I sent last stream still in there? So every single stream so far, I have reset the form. You'll have to resubmit, but you totally can. And then with that, you'll get an extra weight added to your level. So it's more likely that I'll be by random playing your level, and that's the benefit of this random system. All right, we got Materia 2 by him1233. Looks like it might be a copied level. Not positive there. We'll play it through though. Okay, does this one have a video attached to it? Just out of curiosity. It does not. Please note, will not get rated. Yeah, that's fine. I'll just take a quick look at the editor and give a few comments there. So obviously, I'm not going to be speaking a ton on the difficulty because it's a challenge level, and I can't necessarily play it through on this stream. Otherwise, I'd be sitting here for quite a while. So I'm going to make a few comments on what's going on. So I like these little pixel hearts. These add a little bit of charm to the level, even though there's a little bit of a lack of background, which can be really quickly done. You know, you could do a little checkerboard pattern, just something like that, because it would match the pixel theme. It doesn't have to be super complicated. But I like that idea of the hearts. And this little guy right here adds a little bit of charm. Got some good money symbols going on. Good use of D blocks as well. That makes it very easy to read through. I like the persistent face theme so far. That's really cool. Little old 2.1 swing. Got that old action going on. Like the double scaling of the orbs. That shows that you've playtested it through and you know where it's kind of challenging. So well done there. Another recall back to the beginning. Slowing down, and then we have a single, double, and triple spike. Actually goes on for quite a while. I'm actually pretty impressed. You've done it. Congrats. GG. And then the end. Yeah, I think overall, obviously, you said you don't intend for it to get rated. Yeah, I think that you have some really good decorative concepts here. You could actually take some of these, put them into other levels that, you know, could theoretically get rated and that you wanted to get rated, and they actually could. So, yeah, that's a good start for sure. QZ Lind, we got Society Copyable 1. This is a platformer. Still play through at least a decent amount of it. Let me double check. Is there a video? There is. So if this is too challenging, I might have to pop over the video for just a second. Oh. So it's like a troll situation here. Okay. Real end. Hopefully it's a real end. Okay, it's a checkpoint. Good to know. Oh, I know exactly what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to get over the triple and then, yeah. Ooh, yeah, it is tricky. I'm going to go ahead, break into the editor really quick for a moment, and then I'm going to pop into the Google Sheet. Somebody said watch the video, and that is exactly what I'm going to be doing. because I want to be able to give some decent feedback. But I also want to keep things rolling fairly quick. Society Capital. There we go. All right, I'm going to open up the editor and make some comments as we go through this really quick. So this is actually a keyframe, and that's used for the normal icon. Got some good sound effects going on. And this looks like a traditional platformer in many ways. However, there's some interesting concepts going on, right? The level gets more detail as it goes on. You have some static camera usage, all that stuff. And the theme changes are going to be what makes this one very interesting. It's not just your standard, like, it stays the same. It's just a basic thing. No, there's actual theme changes, and that makes it really cool. Good use of checkpoints as well. It's so important. And I see this so often in people who are making really challenging platformers. They make a really hard level and it goes on forever. And the difficulty stems from the fact that you don't have a checkpoint. It's a strategy, but it's one that is often really frustrating for players because they're like, oh, I'm almost there. And then I don't get a checkpoint and I have to completely restart. And that doesn't really motivate you to continue the level. Obviously, if it's super challenging, that's one thing. But I mean, I think overall, just from what I'm seeing, there's some interesting things here. Is it rate worthy? It's definitely close. There's some very interesting things that are happening, and I think that leads me to believe that it could be very close to rate-worthy. In terms of the playthrough, it's a very similar to a room-based platformer, and the charm comes from various themings and, just a general meme level concept. Yeah. It's a 51, the verification video is a whole 51 minutes long, so it is going to be a demon level in all contexts. So no worries there. I mean, there's some good decoration overall. It has a nice theme to it. I'm just thinking about, is this rate worthy or is it not? It's real close for me. Because demon platformers in particular need to have something that stands out among them. It's not just like a general normal classic level where you can kind of have a formula that you match and it gets a star rate anyways. There has to be some differences involved. So it does have its uniqueness for sure. It's just, is there enough else going on that makes it break the mold? Honestly, I don't know. I'm gonna grab the notes really quick and see if they have any comments. Yeah, watch video. Good idea. I should have read that before. I think it could possibly go for a star rate. It's very close though. I think I like the uniqueness enough that it does stake its claim as a star rated demon. So very interesting overall. I like a lot of what's going on here. Next up, we got Lonely by Mr. Weep 2. This is going to be a 47,000 object level, and I always say when there's a plus on the side, there needs to be some high detail for it to be justified. If there's not, that's where you have to start thinking about optimization, because usually with modern levels, glow levels, stuff like that, they should be appealing to the broad audience. They should be maybe 8-star max if you're doing a kind of a quote cookie cutter glow level. If not, in general, you can kind of do some different things. But if you want to make it fairly easy, you want to have some good decoration, and you want to have it under 40,000 objects that everybody can play it through. Quick question, can I submit my friend's level? I want to see your opinion on it. Yeah, if you submit through the form, you can. I'm playing everybody's levels. As long as it fits the guidelines submitted, yeah, you can. Whoa! Okay, hold on. This is cool. I got to get more info on it before I make my final statement, but very interesting to start. I like where it's headed. There we go. Good use of the glow beams as well. There's a little bit of emptiness in that part right there, but that's not going to take away from, you know, it getting rated. Whoa. Good flashing usage. This feels very full overall, actually, believe it or not. And I can read stuff pretty well. I haven't had a lot of difficulty just, like, doing that stuff. I'm gonna have to see. I'm not sure. I'm seeing some usernames in general here that are very popular creators, so I'm gonna make sure the level isn't stolen. Usually levels like this get traction pretty quickly, so I'd be very surprised if it, you know, hadn't before. There's coin. Lonely, and those are all the people who took part. I'm gonna have to see. I have some concerns about this. I think this level is stolen, personally. They popped 53 minutes into the editor, and there's 85 out of it. Let me see. I'm gonna grab this song ID really quick. 810215. Quick intermission. Huh. Okay. Let me just look up Lonely. And just for anybody who's been in previous streams, I did end up removing just a few of the commands because they're no longer useful in random submissions. I just have a feeling that this level might be stolen. I'm not going to make any accusations immediately. Just because the mismatching logos and everything leads me to believe that. It's probably a collab. It is for sure a collab, 100%. The only concern that I have with it is that I didn't see any parts that were labeled with the uploader's name, which is usually a sign that it's a stolen level. Along with this, I'm not sure what that's about. Not positive. I think there's a small chance, though, that it would be stolen. So for the moment, I am going to hold off on making any claims that, you know, it could be rate-worthy or not. I'd have to do a deeper investigation if I were to actually be sending that level. A random layout by Pizza Game 4455. Let's take a look. Hi. Hello. Oh, so I've fallen through the level. Maybe make a few spikes there just to stop that from happening immediately. Boom, boom, boom. Good use of blue pads overall. Ooh, so that is a bit of a blind jump right there. Usually layering 4-ish triple spikes is a lot. And you can do a lot of stuff. Maybe you can make some orbs, some stuff like that to vary the gameplay up a little bit. Because gameplay variation is one of the most important things that, like, to nail down. Because it makes the player want to keep playing. They're interested still, right? It's very good to see that the blue portal to flip the gravity back to normal was hidden. That's a great design choice. I support it. There are a few blind jumps for me, at least. It's kind of tricky for me to read some of that stuff. Could be my aspect ratio, but yeah, it's a little bit tricky. Maybe add some S blocks there as well, because I did not know when to let go. It's a little bit hard to just judge that randomly for me. Yeah, see. There we go. I got that one, though. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure about the triple dash orb concept here. It's just a little bit tricky to read since nothing's in view and there's no indication of when to hold and when to let go. I'm having some trouble figuring that one out. Got it down, though. I feel like I'm not really dying to anything in particular right now. Just says buffer, but yeah, I'm just falling. I'm kind of just dying right now. I'm not sure. Any ideas on what's going on here? I'm just kind of stuck. All right, I'm going to break into the editor really quick for just a hot second. Death Corridor reference. Of course. Okay, let's see. Let's see what we got going on. Oh, okay. So this right here can cause some real trouble when you have this happen. I think, just calling from memory, I'm pretty sure that this would have to be an H block, which essentially allows you to be forced down and not die. So putting those there allows that kind of fall through. I'm not sure exactly what's going on. And then buffer the second green orb, and then just a quick GG's. I think not bad overall. You have some good gameplay concepts going on. I think especially at the beginning, there were some really good ideas. However, near the end, it got a little bit fast, and there were some things that were tricky for me to read. There were some sight readability issues. Clean those up, and then go ahead and decorate it, and I think you have yourself a rate-worthy level on your hands. We all start somewhere? Absolutely. I mean, I think it took me, I want to say 3 years to get my first rated level. And it's all about just progress, right? We got Jazzy Juice by Twan Dash, by the way. Nice modern level. Captions are actually really good. I don't want to use the word cheat because they're not a cheat, but they're a great way to fill space when you don't know what else to fill it with. I use captions in a lot of my levels, and it really helps. Got some good theming going on as well. A little bit of color contrast things here that I might maybe tune up. Maybe make a little bit of more vibrant of a background or a little bit of a darker block design, background, all that stuff. Nice swirl background, that's nice. Oh, that's a good use. I want to make a quick comment about what's so good about that. It catches the player in case you were to be falling through, which is really nice. In transitions where you don't know what's going to be happening, it's really, really, really important that the player knows what's going on. And this one really did a good job of that. I think there's some color contrasts, maybe questionable things that happened there, but nothing was too bad overall. And I think it got a star rate from its overall well done concepts, designs, all that stuff. Obviously a King Sam a lot song. Next up we got Polar Geist. Hello from stream. I think we already got this submitted in a few things. Got a nice wave concept going on here. It's a monochromatic background and block design, which is not a bad thing, but it's really important to make sure things stand out. Like you need to maybe add some glow in the wave parts, I should say in the wave block designs. Background could use a little bit of motion, complexity, some of that stuff. I like the fact that it's sped up a little bit. That makes sense with the song. And I mean, I think overall what is here is a great first start. This one has a little bit of rough contrast. I think that adding a little bit more of that contrast could be a great next step, but not too bad overall. It does feel fairly starved of movements, if that makes sense. It feels like it's maybe a bit static. So going ahead and thinking, okay, you know, how could I make this feel like it's moving? How is it active? All that stuff. That creates energy and it makes sync to the song, which is a really important part. There is a little bit of life in those wheels. That wheel decoration does give it a bit of movement, but carrying those through the block designs could be a great next step. And there we go, Daxor. First of all, I think when I look at this level, I see success in many senses, right? There's some good block designs, there's some background concepts, you've got decent gameplay overall, there's some good experimentation going on, but there are some places that you could build on. For example, the backgrounds and the block designs feel like they kind of run into each other just a little bit, and that's a fairly easy fix. And just in general, polishing the designs, making them a little bit more complex. All those things are options, and they can be very helpful for making the level play better. Where am I placed? Somebody says via vertical chat. So unfortunately, I can't tell you exactly when your level is going to be played, because I am doing a random format. So whether you submit first, last, they all do have the same chance on the first stream. If you submit again next stream, you'll be weighted at 2 times, so it'll be more likely that I will be playing your level. How many levels are there, I wonder? I'll tell you right now. We got 30 submissions at the moment. Message to Zodiac by an extreme demon. Says it's hacked. No video, so I'm gonna actually open up the editor. Since if it's hacked, I probably won't be able to give any good gameplay feedback on it. Good use of 3D lines, first of all. You've got a good 3D line concept going on, and they are all pointing in the same direction, which is a key thing. I mentioned this in one of my block design shorts. You always have to have your 3D lines pointing in the same direction. Next step here is to make sure that all of these are also 3D lines. Having one thing 3D lines and one thing not makes your eye kind of not know whether it's flat or whether it's not. And when you put those together, it gets a little bit confusing for the visuals. Not sure exactly what's going on here, but yeah. Message, I'm assuming that says to Zodiac, and those would pop up. A little bit of orb situation going on as well. If this is mimicking Zodiac, then it's totally fine. If not, I might consider doing a bit more with blocks instead of orbs. Club Set Monster. Classic. Some good portal usage. This is meant to make the level a little bit easier and give the player a break. Dash orb. And then you go through. And a lot of this is at speed, by the way. That's why it's so challenging. Then I believe that's the end of the level right there. Let me double check that. Yes, I want to say it is. No, it's not. Correction. A little bit more orb situation going on. Good gameplay switch there. Dash orbs and some dual wave. And a message to Zodiac is how it ends. So the end screen there, I like the fact that there's a little bit of an end screen. It's still very layout focused in general. There's not a ton of decoration. So end screens don't have to be super complex at this stage. And then when you go back and you revise it, you polish it up, you add colors, you do all that stuff. All that stuff goes together. And then that's when you change the end screen. But this is a pretty good, quote, placeholder one, and it matches the overall vibe of the level. So I think when I look at this level, I obviously can't play it through and, you know, make direct observations. It seems very good. I think there's a lot of good concepts that go into it. So definitely continue with these concepts. It seems very, very nice. Only one submission, I thought. Yeah, so I can only do one submission per person. So, yeah, I might not get through all of them, honestly. I have like 30 submissions, and I am going to cut it off at 1 hour. So we will be done at 9:30 Eastern tonight. And then just a little bit earlier. Next up, we got Death Step. I believe I played this level recently, so I am going to go ahead and skip it. All right, we got How to Ball by Zorus. It's an 8 or 9 star. This time actually beat it, and I'll add your icon to the level. So since it's such a long level, what I'm going to do is sometime I'm going to actually go ahead and skip this. I'm gonna skip this one right now, and then I will play it through. I will beat it, and I will comment on this level that I've beaten it with some more feedback. I think I already mentioned a few things about it, but it's very nice. There's some good theming going on with it. I think this was in stream 1 that I actually reviewed this one. But it will be played. Hopefully it will be beaten, and hopefully you will see a comment from me shortly. Oh, random. Kaleidoscope. Let me see. Ran out of levels to request. All right. I'll play this one through quick then. I'm going to try it in normal mode to see if I can grab the stars real quick. Looks like I won't be able to. Now, this is a legendary level. So in legendary levels, for 99.99% of players, there's something to learn about. What makes this legendary? What makes this so good? And you can already see the detail on the level, right? It makes it shine. It makes it super interesting for the player. Just in general, which is really, really, really nice. I'm not sure exactly where I am position-wise. Let me run that back. Okay, I have to hit all the... Oh, it's an orb. Okay, I just have to hit all the orbs. No, I don't. What? What am I supposed to do here? Anybody know? I'll bet I'm... Oh, okay, I'm supposed to hit that pad. So I might be stupid. Some of this gameplay is a little bit quirky, and I think that's the purpose of the level. And in many cases, it's all about, like, does the decoration suit the rest of the gameplay? Because in a lot of levels, this gameplay wouldn't pass. Just because it's tricky to understand, there's some things that get skewed, but the entire decoration is skewed of the level. It feels like it's kind of, I don't want to say corrupted, but that's the focus of the level. It's not all exactly what you expect, just like a kaleidoscope, matching in with the title. I'm not going to lie, I keep dying to that part. Yup. I think that is standard procedure for this level, just from what I'm seeing. Oh, wait. There we go. I already clicked the orb. Kaleidoscope. And look at that little, like, title screen. That's so cool. And then it's like kind of a roaming level. Like, you have to kind of work your way through the saws yourself. You have to choose things. Choose your way levels are very powerful in that sense. You get to be in control of how the level plays through, which is really nice. And the colors. Of course, the colors. I want to make a few notes on this. They've done a great job making everything match. It feels like a kaleidoscope. It feels glassy almost, which is a challenging thing to actually make happen. So well done there. Oh. And see, it kills you immediately. That's something. There's no secret ways that I've found so far. Everything does punish you if you're supposed to be punished. Wow. Look at this. I mean, just every part of it is in motion at every time. Exactly like a kaleidoscope. If you can't tell already, the common thread is that the level matches the title. The title has meaning behind it and it has a context, which is super powerful. A little bit laggy here. I'm not sure if this is just my computer, if it's a stream or what's up, but yeah, I'm getting a little bit of latency going on. And we're a little bit better here. Strong use of shaders, right? You can see a ton of shaders going on. I think that's a good thing overall. And then we actually have some rotations, which is really cool. Boom, 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 boom. And there we are. Kaleidoscope done. Closing out with some shaders and actually kind of like a landscape with the sun on top. I think, if nothing else, it shows why legendary levels are so difficult to get. There's so many things going on at one time that all match together to make sense together. And that's why I got legendary. It shows creative expertise in every sense. And when you say to somebody, tell me an example of a level that is this style. This is one of them. You could use this as an example, and people would say, I can see why this one's so good. There's not a lot of argument against, like, this level's horrible. I think if I open up the comments, I'll show it. Okay, a few people saying, like, visuals over gameplay and stuff like that. And while it is true that the gameplay did suffer a little bit, I don't feel like there's a deal breaker in this level. You don't want to let it degrade so badly that it's hard to play through. But you do want to make it so that it matches. I can't click on the link. For anybody in vertical chat who can't click on the link, unfortunately, I have had a lot of trouble even with the correct link. Like, I can click on it personally with actually being able to click on that when you're on the shorts feed. So if you would, for me, just go ahead and type that into your URL in your preferred browser, and that will allow you to submit. We got 35 submissions now. Training by Pixel Light, 4 seconds long. I'm not sure that that's correct because it feels a lot longer. Right. Okay. So I think this is like a level where, like, you choose your difficulty. It's a choose your difficulty level, which is actually really interesting, but they are very difficulty rated because, yeah, we're going to play through the noob one. I'll play through a few different cases. Is that possible? I think so. It is possible, ladies and gentlemen. Simply. Boom. Okay. So, how do you beat the level? Real question. Do I have to, beat them all? Or is there like an ending to it? Oh, wait. I might not have a brain. You just have to... Okay. And then hacker, I guess. Okay, so it's just like Sonic Wave style stuff, I think. And the old Slaughterhouse Stalemate song going on in the background. Classic. The one and the only. I think that's about enough for me. An end. Okay, so you can just go to the end. My fault there. I think it's kind of funny overall, right? It's a good concept. Could it be rate-worthy? Probably not as is. Just because I think you can skip fairly easily to the end, and that makes it really difficult to gauge your difficulty on. You could argue that, you could get a rating and all that stuff, but yeah. How do you get the blue cat on the right bottom, and how the heck does it move? So these are actually custom emojis made for me, and I have a little app that basically I've installed into my computer, and then I have a recording of it. Whenever I move my mouth or whenever the microphone catches an input, it moves the mouth of the icon as well. It's a nice setup. Lucky difficult 1, exactly 100 downloads. The level falls off kind of halfway. Let's take a look and let's see if we agree with it. Demon opening it up for us. I'm not sure how I feel about the exact pulsing concept here. I think it's a good, charming idea, but it's a little bit difficult to read as is because literally half the time you can see nothing. If you use an alpha trigger, you can make those those pads also disappear. It'll make it feel a little bit more synchronized. And I think that pulsing thing is going to be what carries this level. I'd be really interested to see how it works without any pulsing. Because without pulsing, it should still look decent if it's going to get a rating. And then this is a slow wave. My fault. Then we're up. And I think the pulsing here could be stopped. Because it's getting a little bit, it fatigues the mind just a bit, and not necessarily in a good way. It kind of makes it where you see the same thing over and over and over again, and it disengages you mentally from the level. And you want to keep your player engaged. You want to keep them playing. You want to make them spend the practice attempts, the time, leave a comment on your level, share it with people. That's how you make your level gain traction and eventually some sends, right? Or, of course, you can hop on level request streams and get sends via that. But overall, you can gain some popularity in the game by making levels that keep interest, pique people's attention, all that stuff. And right there, I would extend the block design down. It cut off just a little bit. Okay, GG. Psych. Oh, and it speeds up. A little bit of a blind input there. I thought I was clear, but I was not. I suppose. There we go. And a little bit of a tight, like, spam situation there. I'm not sure how I feel about that. And very heavy on the saw usage as well. I would feel personally like I would enjoy a little bit more variation there. And this one, it just doesn't quite fill all the way down. So make sure that those fill up all the way to the top of the screen. Yeah, for those who can't click the link on the vertical, go to the normal stream. If you do want to go to the normal stream, it will work for sure. Otherwise, vertical, you can type it in with the URL. Excellent, made a level with top 1 difficulty. I'm going to send an easier level first, though. All right, fire away. So this one, I believe that it would be an unlisted level, and unfortunately, the forum states that I will not be checking any unlisted levels because the mod does not allow that. Next up, we got Gravity by Caliver13. Not sure where the original... It says copied, but there's no info from it. This feels like a very old level, and that makes sense because it's 7 million ID, I believe. Or it could be 70 million. Not positive on which one. But it is from an older era, which is very interesting. Personally, for me, it has the charm, right? It has the charm of an older level. For some reason, I'm not sure how it has swing. Has it really been that long since 2.2 came out? Or am I just tweaking? It literally could just be the fact that, like, I'm so used to older levels not having swing, and now these are not older levels. Or I guess that these levels are older levels, but I'm used to older levels being 2.1 or even 1.9, all that stuff. Totally dependent on, you know, when you join the game. All right, we're up. Is this an XL level? I have an inclination to believe that it is. It's only a minute 33. Okay. Let me get a start position back to where I was. I feel bad if I just, like, cut that off. Okay. I was right here. Trust me, guys. Right here. Took a long time to load me in. That's weird. Practice. Like the idea of, like, it tumbling down. That's cool. This is a bit of a late input for the overall difficulty of the level, I'd say. Whoa. Whoa. That woke me up. Okay. And then a little bit of a speed up, I suppose. And then we're through. This is a pretty heavy orb section. I don't think it's too bad overall. I wish there was a little bit more variation in the transitions. It seems like all of them are those blue pads that, like, you know what I mean? That rotate the camera. So I think building off that could be a good idea, a good next step. Oh, okay. So once again, the same transition thing. Not a huge fan of those repetitive things. It's really important to have variations so that the person kind of gains a different sense of, you know, what's up and all that stuff. So this feels like a very old, or I should say original experimentation with the pixel style. To me, that would make sense. Okay. And then the song, I wish it was more pulsing or something like that, because it feels like a very intense song for an overall very chill level. I would match a different song to this one. Overall, I think it's a decent level, right? There's some good stuff going on with it. When was it uploaded? Now I'm really curious. 4 years ago, right? So I think they updated it to hold a bunch of 2.2 features in it, which would make sense. But I think there's some decent concepts, but time did not really seem to treat it super well, in the sense of some things looking a little bit older and stuff like that. I think when it came out, it would have actually been really interesting and really probably pretty new, maybe even rate worthy. But as of now, it's just a little bit tricky to justify a star rate. All right, next up we got Hellish Club Step. Whoa. Okay, this looks like a situation. Certainly. Okay. Okay. Let's try it. Let's try it. So is this one of those just super buffed things? 100% is. We're gonna give it everything we have though. Probably spend about 3 minutes-ish on it. I've kind of accepted I'm not gonna be, beating this straight up, but we can try to get as close as possible. Heavy, electric guitar going on in the background there. And I feel like some of the artifacts here are showing just a bit of it being original club step, just really super buffed, because there's some black spikes there that should be a different color and stuff like that. But it's important to delete those artifacts when you're going ahead and, making one of these levels, because they are what defines them. Are you making something unique, or are you just, playing around with the already existing version? I feel like this one's more the latter. Okay, so I have to go through. Gameplay is very tricky for me to read so far, just as is. Not a huge fan of the balancing tactics here. Some parts have been pretty easy and some parts have not been easy at all. Let's pop open the editor. With these challenging levels, I like to do that so I can give you some decent feedback. Yes, it seems very similar to the current club step. There's a little bit of modification going on here, though. Some old 2.2 features. And obviously the end screen with a nice spam through. I mean, I think overall it's got some charm to it, but I'm not a huge fan of when I can personally see myself, okay, they've taken club step and they've modified it a little bit, especially when club step's an older level. It's kind of a good idea to kind of reimagine it yourself and not just take directly the concepts from it. Obviously, it's super buff. There's some stuff going on there, but it does feel very much like club step was just heavily modded. Where's the random one? What the heck? It didn't grab me one. Okay, a funk to a clutter. Remastered hard clutter funk. Is this one going to be under 30 seconds? I got to check out. It's just under, it's 29 seconds. So unfortunately, in order to stay in accordance with the form, I do have to skip this one. If you make it 1 second longer, you can resubmit it, and I will play it through 100%. Next up, Ultimate Destruction by Waters35678. Taking the old Ultimate Destruction song, which is actually Rob Top's first level that was never released. Fun fact if you didn't know that. We got a good gradient trigger going on. I love the gradient trigger. It's so helpful. Super powerful. The pixel effect is a bit harsh for me. It doesn't feel like it's doing a ton of heavy lifting, and it's very strong. I wish there's a bit more playing around with the song as well. It's a great song, so really using it to your advantage could be very powerful. Speed change is very well appreciated, certainly, though. There we go. Maybe making an asymmetric duel instead of just a normal one could be a good next step as well. Those do blend in very strongly with the background, so I can't really tell where I'm supposed to click. Got lucky. few times there. Destruction. Next game mode. You could throw in a little UFO there. This is your best part so far. There's some good contrast. You got a nice particle going on in the background and some block designs. It's the most complete for sure. Make sure those particles stay on B4 though, or B5 in terms of layering, because they do blend in with the block designs as is. Some nice saws, giving it some variation. I think that right here, right at the end, it should have been a bit faster. It felt like a strong part of the song, and it was where it should have picked up, for sure. Could be right where it was longer, but still. Yeah, it's not too bad, 100% for 3 hours especially. It's a good place to build off of. I think that there are a few parts that were just a little bit empty, but they could have gotten... it's a good start, for sure, as I already said. All right, we got 5050 Deco 1. 7 seconds long, but it says an XL. Let me take a quick dive. 2 minutes and 17 seconds. So once again, it does unfortunately violate the form. It has to be under 2 minutes for me to be able to review it in the interest of time and get into everybody else's levels. So I will have to skip this one. If you have a shorter version or something like that, I can totally play that one through as well. Just make sure it's a public upload. Okay, we got Ball Snatcher by Mwahaha GD. Let's take a glance at what Mwahaha GD has to say. Good sync so far. This is fun to play through. And it's just a hold. Okay, that's nice. Ooh, that's a fun part. I dig that. That's cool. Ooh, so orbs and waves are a very touchy subject for me. I'm not a huge fan of them, but could just be a personal thing. I'm not sure. So don't take my word on it like it's your life savings or something. Oh. And we're holding through with a good transition. I like it, I like it. A little bit lengthy for me, maybe. It's a bit tricky to justify a transition with this length in a level. We'll see if it pays off. Maybe a little bit more intensity here could be good. It feels very akin to the first part, and it's a more intense part of the song, right? This could be really fast or something. Way to weave through, though. A little bit tricky to read for me, just on sight read. And we're going through. This is pretty fast. All right. And we're clear. Yeah, so I think overall there were some really good ideas there, right? I know I say that about a lot of levels, but there were some good concepts. And it has a good place to grow. You have some nice concepts, and those concepts are what should be built upon. There's some movements, there's some pulses, there's some decoration, atmosphere, gameplay concepts, all that stuff, and all those ideas can work together, and they can be, yeah, they can improve. I don't know why it says 5050 is 2 minutes. It's literally one. Where can I read the rules again? Those are all going to be in the form. If you've already submitted once, it does lock it down. I had some instances of some people submitting like 5 or 6 times and really throwing off the weight of the submission, so I did have to lock it down. All right. Super Delulu World is next up. Ooh, we got some good colors so far. This is a funny song. I like it overall. Not sure about that red orb there. That's a bit tricky for me to play through. Maybe it's just me, though. Oh, so I have to skip it. I have to skip both red orbs, and then that unlocks the saw. Got it. Okay, so it's like a 9-circle style level in general, I think. Feels a little bit tricky in comparison to the first part of the level, I feel like. Could just be me, though. I like the background, though. It's a nice, like, gradient. You could even add a little bit of glow in between them to smooth it out. I think. It feels like Sonic Wave. I feel like I'm playing a bunch of different wave challenges kind of all mashed together, and I don't mind it. Take a look. Yeah, the wave is actually very difficult for me. I'm not sure if the whole level is going to be difficult or what, but we're already 31% of the way through, so let's just fulfill it. Wow, so many waves. Sheesh. Ooh, that dropped you really quick. Maybe making a camera pan there would be a good idea. I know that using the portals is an old 2.1 tac deck, but since we're in 2.2 now, it's a really good idea just to move it on. Okay. Oh, okay. So difficult little click here. There we go. It's tricky, I'll tell you that much. Maybe a theme change here in general would have served this level well, I think. Come on. Come on, anything. There we go. And this is actually a death corridor illusion, I feel like. Yeah, it reads like a wave challenge to me. Not sure about the saws there. They're a little bit difficult to read for me. But overall, I mean, for the difficulty that it is, it hasn't played through too horribly. There we go. Hold on. So it looks like the saws were actually just decoration. We're just gonna spam through this part really quick. There we go. Ooh, and that's a tight jump. Oh, okay. And I think I'm almost done here. Why would this be at the end of the level, man? It's brutal. There it is. Genuinely. Is that it? Did I mess up the very final click? Do I have to click? What? What am I supposed to do? Oh, I've clicked the GG. All right. Well, I mean, I think I put so many checkpoints down there that I can't say much about the gameplay. But what I can say is that the decoration is very charming overall. Read description too. Artist Lulu challenge list level after 1,821 attempts. That seems really short for what it is. That's cool though. I've died there. Yeah, I died in a lot of places. Yeah. I mean, I think overall it's very cool in general. You've done a good job making some charm, and there's some good decorative concepts. You have a nice color scheme. There's some kind of ombre theming going on. And of course, the concept of making it a very difficult challenge level always brings some attention to it. Well done overall, though. Okay, this one is unlisted too, so I will have to skip that one. Just a reminder to everybody, unlisted levels cannot be played just because the mod does not basically grab them. We got black and white. This one's going to be 1:24 long. Oh, so it's using the Dr. Phonics Code Red song. This is a classic in the game. And there's actually a good background going on. I can see the difference between them. Not sure about the glow here. It's a bit inconsistent in many ways. That's all right. Good attempt at some movement as well. The difference is just a little bit strong for me. I would have liked to see maybe some elements changing black and white, and then some others staying stagnant, and that creates kind of a theming and allows you to focus on what's actually changing instead of just a whole level changing back and forth. There we go. This is a cool part. I like the ground going on. Maybe adding a little bit of variation there in terms of the inputs could have been a good idea. Maybe a 1, 2, 3 spikes, all that stuff. Very readable section though. I like that. Same thing here with the variation could be a good idea. And then maybe implementing a new background because you've made all that build up and you've made a huge scene change. Implementing in the same background feels like you're just looping back to the old thing, and it's like the excitement, the build up all kind of went to nothing. That's a very difficult read for me on site. A lot of this has become kind of unreadable. Oh. Ooh. That's a quick slowdown, but it works. I think if I had to pick one thing, just to, like, start this level off and give it a good place to grow from, it would be the contrast. There were a lot of parts there at the end that I had a lot of trouble, like, reading where's what, all that kind of stuff. Not too bad overall, though. I think you have a lot of good starting points. We got Be Calm by Goofy Gabe 365. This is going to be our final level of the evening. Looks like it's going to be a medium length. Good layout concept so far. I like the red block designs merged with the white 3D lines. Maybe making those consistent could be good. And make sure that your 3D lines are pointing in the same direction. So, for example, that one's pointing to the top left. Some of them are pointing to the top right. Some of them are pointing to the bottom right. Making sure that they're all in the same direction essentially sets you up for success because the camera is pointed in one way. Ooh, good use of the gravity. I played around with that just for a little bit, but I actually never used it in a full level. But I know there's a ton of really cool ways to do it. Sent me right to the end, though. So yeah, guys, unfortunately for tonight, I am going to have to call it off because it is 9:34 at this point. 9:34 p.m. And this was an extra stream. I don't want to go too far over. Yeah. So for tonight, this will be all. And the form will be reset on Saturday. I plan to go back live on Saturday at 9 p.m. Eastern. And then you guys will have another chance to submit your level. If you didn't get yours played today and you're still wanting to get yours played, you can totally resubmit. The form will be reopened and your level will have a double weight, which means it is more likely to get selected. And therefore, I'll probably play it. So once again, I wish you all a good evening and I hope you have a good night. See ya.